Welcome, everybody, to the Tipped and Stiffed podcast with your host, Cade and
Jarod Sturridge.
Merry Christmas!
Santa's coming tonight.
This is coming out on Christmas Eve. How exciting!
That's exciting, yeah.
So, depending on when you're listening to this, you're either preparing for a really nice dinner with your family, or you're coming home from one of the most emotionally tasking things of the year, which is sitting around the dinner table and talking about COVID precautions. Or
we'll bleep that.
Yeah, flagged immediately.
We can on the YouTube video doesn't matter. They won't flag it. So
Really?
It's different. It's more of the everything else.
But that's literally, I mean, even while I was making cookies with like my mom and my sisters and my brother today, there was just like a level of tension the moment anything COVID related got brought up. It was weird. I was like, I mean, it was my fault because I was like, when are we going to take the masks off? I was like, this Omicron variant isn't really that crazy.
When are we going to take the masks off? But yes, this Christmas sign is coming out on Christmas Eve. You know, Christmas Eve and Christmas is about family. It's not about Jesus Christ. Maybe at one point it was, but it's not anymore.
I don't think Christmas Eve ever was about Jesus Christ.
It was
I think that was created for like the Christmas Santa myth.
But it doesn't matter because either way, they don't involve Jesus anymore. Those signs that say Christ for Christmas might as well
That's not what they say. They say keep
Christ. Keep Christ in Christmas.
Yeah.
Might as well just have like, you know,
Hebrew
I need help immediately.
My church got burned down last week. My pastor's a pedophile.
Please, God, save us.
That's how they read.
It's really weird because no one, I don't think I've ever celebrated Christmas without a lick of like religion in it, which for those who do, probably don't listen to this podcast.
Maybe.
But no, you know, Christmas Day is good. That's always been exciting for those with divorcee parents. You know, it's always exciting. You get 2 Christmases. You're like, Santa came to both houses.
Like, I wonder why Santa got shittier presents at this house than Santa's on a budget at my dad's house. All respect to my dad.
I remember Christmas Eve was always Christmas Eve with my mom's was always really nice because the way that Christmas Eve was at my mom's, they always did buffet style, which I really like doing holidays like that. Mm-hmm. I don't really like getting around the turkey. Mm-hmm. I really like or the Christmas ham because first of all, ham is overrated. But like the idea that we're like, yeah, we got this deviled eggs, we got sweet potato, like, and they're just like, just grab a plate and sit down. I like that.
Well, and it's sometimes it's with Christmas, you got more people than at Thanksgiving or something. Thanksgiving, it makes more sense to sit the fuck down, but Christmas, you might have 20 people in the house.
Which you shouldn't.
Why not?
That's embarrassing. First of all,
I like it.
No, I think I've only ever had a Christmas of 5 people. Thank Christ. That is my Christ and Christmas week. 5 people at Christmas, because guess what? Those 5 people, it's really easy to balance this conversation out. When I remember my ex-girlfriend, they would be like 30 people. That is like you have to bust out multiple tables, all the chairs. You have to like everyone has to ignore somebody getting divorced. Because like this is the thing. That's my favorite thing that like that's the white elephant in the room. Is it white elephant or just the elephant in the room?
White elephant is a Christmas game, but elephant in the room is the term. So it kind of worked.
So it worked.
Good
the
for
white
you.
Elephant in the world.
Jesus.
What?
That was clever, Cade. You didn't know you were doing it.
It was clever until you asked to confirm. You should just kept trucking.
Let's restart.
All right.
Cut.
But the white elephant in the room is like I always thought it was funny because they're like, oh, my cousins are getting married. Oh, my brothers are getting married. Oh, somebody's getting married. And I would always just think, I'm like, you know, it is 50-50. One of these Christmases is going to be, so how's the divorce? So do you think she's getting the house? How do you think, how are the kids taking it?
See, you on Thanksgiving, you were talking to, when we were at your house, Bryce, so you were talking to somebody about that, and like, it was so dark for no reason. Just because like some people who we were hanging out with had like, we talked about the craziness that happens at their family shit, like how sometimes it was truly horrific what some of the people would start saying to each other and but like, the elephant in the room, the white elephant in the room at mine, it has been for years that one of my cousins gets way too drunk. Awesome. And she starts she starts going through the list of the words like you can't say.
Oh.
No. Just like goofy, offensive shit. I love her to death. She
drop any N-bombs?
No. Well, wait. I think one time she did, but with an A.
I'm sure. I know your family. I'm sure your family took it well.
Well, it was one of those situations where there was the siblings and the cousins and shit were eating down in like the basement, and like all like the aunts and uncles and shit were upstairs doing whatever they were doing, and we were downstairs just like, you know, the older. Well, here's what happens: is the older people and their fiancés or whatever siblings that are older are trying to they're just bullying the younger kids,
right?
But they're bullying them in a way where they're seeing what they can get away with saying in front of them.
So then
my drunk cousin decided to like pretend like she was using like she was like making a point about something. She was bitching about some person at work, and her response to that person as she was telling the story had the N-word in it. And I thought it was hilarious. I was in 8th grade. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
That's wonderful.
I like it. You know, that's the elephant in the room. Sometimes that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, she's sailed off. She's not a drunk anymore.
She got worse.
She started using the R, the hard R.
Dude, the Christmas Eve.
She moved on to Asian slurs actually.
Christmas Eve at my dad's. So I would have Christmas Eve at my mom's, and Christmas Eve with my mom, like, and my grandparents was always really nice. Again, because no one would be there. When we used to have a lot more family there, it'd be my great grandma and my aunt, my uncle are no longer allowed at the Christmas Eve.
That's the best when somebody isn't included in the plans.
They have not been allowed to be there for the past like 4 years. And it's always because my great grandma just brings up some really weird like family issues and just starts like running her mouth. That's how my mom would say it.
What do you mean brings them up? Like tries to like
instigate.
Oh, like with people who are there, or talk shit behind people's backs?
Nah, she would just bring it up. She's like, I don't understand why that needs to be a problem. And then it just, my mom would just be like, this bitch, she'll get the fuck out. She'd turn to my grandma and be like, can you get her in line? Can you pull the leash on your mother? Because she's talking about her great grandma. And so she's talking to my grandma.
Oh.
It's like,
that's weird.
Get your mom in line.
Yeah.
Please. It'd be like that. And eventually they weren't invited anymore, which I'm fine with. My dad's side, which is wonderfully chaotic. They don't kick anyone out, but they need to, but they don't. But in reality, they should kick all of each other out of each other's lives. So like, it would just be like, imagine being at Christmas Eve and everyone holding like a gun at each other. Like, do you like the potatoes? Just like pointing it
with their eyes.
Do you like the fucking potatoes? And you're like, the other person has like a gun pointed right at, like right under the table, like
pointing at their wife.
Good.
They're like,
they're really good.
Like, did you like my green bean casserole? At their wife.
It's the fucking question. No, it seriously was like that. We held each other. We held each other like social, intimidation.
Yeah.
No, it was weird. And I remember the presents were always worse on Christmas Eve because, this family was they weren't broke. They were broke because it's not that they didn't make money, it's that they were horrible with finances. So they lived paycheck to paycheck because they were paying off 2 cars, a house, horrible credit card debt, right? So this family with only 3 kids under the age of 13, at Christmas Eve, we would only give like 1 gift. Mm-hmm. And we would do Secret Santa for a family of 7. Mind you, 2 of those people were grandparents. So that's how like embarrassing it was. And I knew that like growing up, I was like, this is embarrassing. And I remember my gifts would be, I remember one time I got my cousin lived in Texas. So she didn't know me. So like I would get gifts that were like, I think you like this. Mm-hmm. And I open it up and I'm like, I should have fucking stayed home. I mean, this isn't even exciting. And then what would happen is you think your aunt getting drunk was bad. My dad getting drunk, holy shit. So like when my older cousin started like having political opinions, dude, my dad would just sit there and just scream, it's because you fucking liberals think you run this country. And my little sister would get like scared. Oh, good. And my stepmom would be like fighting off the tears. And my aunt would be like, I can't say his name, but blank, you need to settle down. You're ruining Chris. And I'd be like, Dad, when's my mom picking me up so I can go home? Because this and that was Christmas Eve at that house. But Christmas Eve at my grandparents was always wonderful. But that was my experience with Christmas. There was no Christ involved. It was showing the fear of God to the young ones.
Now, that's what it was supposed to have been.
Because I don't even know what my dad would get drunk on. I can't even remember. Because he wasn't really a beer guy. He was definitely the bottle. Like
he's probably taking shots when no one was looking.
Yeah.
No one's in the kitchen. He goes in the kitchen.
And I would hear my dad. I would hear like my aunt be like, "You're having another one." Like, right. Dude, you know when someone's saying, and like
because they're looking after her sister, who's his wife, and they're like,
no, other way around.
Oh, okay. I was thinking if it was that, it's like
no. So,
but in that situation, it's like, oh, he's having another. Like, I'm gonna go talk to him, and she's like, no, stop, and she's like, no.
I need to do this.
I need to do this. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it.
I keep trying to say his name. I shouldn't say his name.
Yeah.
Because people know my last name. It's going to be really easy to find him. It is actually really easy. I remember one time I showed everyone here. Do you remember how his Facebook picture for the longest time was the Facebook symbol as a swastika? And it was Mark Zuckerberg's face. It was so he's bringing that energy
right
to Christmas Eve. I think that's wonderful. But no, I mean, I really hope, I think the majority of people have good Christmases.
Yeah. Or like if they have good Christmases, their Christmases at least aren't that bad. They're not as like violent and tense as that. I think most people at their worst, depending on the year, depending on how everybody's been feeling, it's just that sometimes there's just a slight passive aggression, yeah. Or there's like a weird annoyance about something. Sometimes it has to do, it's like, like the ants and like just the ants are like in the kitchen doing the cooking. And people are like, I remember my family would get really annoyed that like nobody else would help do like anything. Yeah. And that's a real thing. That's an issue. But at the same time, I don't know, like that issue doesn't really happen anymore because people just bring shit instead of one house cooking everything. Instead of my cousin being the drunk, what's funny is I became the drunk. I don't say anything bad. Oh, I haven't really found out yet because I haven't really had a Christmas where I was 21 and people were cool with me just like drinking. But this is the year. This Friday, I will find out how drunk I can get at my family Christmas party.
You know, it's crazy that you say that because I've been testing that water for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Because my grandpa, ever since I turned 16, was all at Christmas and stuff, was always like, you want a drink? I'd be like, yes.
I love that shit.
Because he gave me White Russians. It's my favorite Christmas drink is White Russian.
That's why you like that one. It goes deep. It goes deep. Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
Perfect Christmas drink.
Yeah.
White Russians.
Because you put the eggnog in it. No. We would make a bunch of those last year all the time. Remember, we would get home from fucking snow removal.
God,
and we'd be making them in the kitchen.
So good. I want a White Russian now. But
we should have brought them for the.
Fuck.
That would have been cool. Well, next week, oh my God, number 50.
Yeah,
number 50 is going to be interesting.
We're gonna. Should we say who we're just gonna have?
No.
Okay. Well, we will have somebody with us, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
But no, Christmas is good. I really like Christmas is my favorite time of the year. I'm off on both days for Christmas. It's the first time ever, besides like, you know, being like not having a job like 14, that I've been off for both, which feels good because like holidays, like as you get older, feel different because you start getting like the point of why everyone should like come see each other.
Right.
Like sometimes like, yeah, do I wonder like, would it be nice if I had a bigger family? Yeah, but I would want a bigger family of a better family.
That's all it is.
Right.
That's all I'm getting at. And like, you know, like my family's pretty solid on my mom's side, bro. Like I'm not super close with my dad's side of the family as much as I am with my mom's side. And it's a huge group every time.
Right.
The difference is at my mom's side of the family, everybody's grown up except for my younger brother.
Right.
Like that's the youngest person here. No one's had grandkids yet. It's like it's coming up, but like coming. You know, that's coming in the next 5 years. And well, that's when
you're gonna be the uncle. You're gonna be uncle.
I'm gonna be an uncle at some point. Both of my sisters are engaged.
I'm so glad I'm not gonna be an uncle for so long because my little sister and we have a 12-year difference in between each other.
Well, you won't be an uncle pretty soon, but the moment I have kids, I'm making you godfather because that would be such a shit show. If I died and my spouse died and they had to go with you.
They'd be politicians.
I know you might whip them into shape. They would miss me dearly. The trauma will be, I mean, horrendous. Can you comprehend? I can't even fathom.
You listen to me.
I know you're
16 having like a crisis for good reason. Dad's gone. I'm what you got. I'm not the best dad. But you're going to be a fucking president whether you like it or not. You're going to Yale. You're going to be in the CIA like a good boy.
Hey, you can do it, give him on that route, but don't make him a Pete Buttigieg.
I promise.
Thank you. That's all I ask. Yeah, but I know your dad for 10 years. You knew him for 3.
I know what he wanted. I have recordings.
You just make him watch this show over and over again.
And he's like crying.
What would he call you? Is Cade? Would my son just call you Cade? Or would he call? Depends when I die. Like when I died in his infancy.
He probably called me like uncle.
Uncle Almaraz. What a fucking Uncle character.
Listen to me. Yeah. My wife, and then like, no, because if I become uncle, it would probably probably not till my 30s.
Yeah.
Hopefully not till my 30s. Possibly not till my 40s. Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, there won't be a chance for me to be the uncle after 40, but possibly into my 30s.
Right, because you'll be dead.
I'll be dead.
I mean, 39, you're writing the will.
39, it'd be a good idea for me to write the will. Truly. Just to make sure everything's in line.
You should read the will out loud on the podcast when you hit that, you know.
First of all, can we talk about how crazy that would be if like me and you had if we had kids and one of us passed away and they like your kid had an archive of like weird wisdom, like all the things that they said over the years of them being alive, all these conversations they never had with you that were just recorded on the internet. That would be the strangest thing ever. Like Joe Rogan technically has that.
Right.
But his kids are never going to watch it because they're going to get the episode 1 and they're going to get the episode like 150 and he's still talking about aliens. They're like, you know what, Dad? I don't think it's worth it. We're going to move on.
They'll watch a few tons, but they won't get to. He's what at like 1,500 right now, something like that.
Yeah, they're not going to get that far.
Also, they'll open the first episode and go, "This is 3 hours long."
Yeah, right.
What do I need to know about my dad that takes 3 hours?
Right. No, that's a weird thought.
It is. No, it is strange because they would see me talking to you about these things, and then they would be like, "Oh, you kind of know the things that I might want to ask about him."
Right.
You know.
Oh, weird.
Not that you would give it to them.
How about this? Forget about like having a kid. How about the fact that we have an archive of like literally 50 hours of us talking?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like even in general.
Oh, yeah.
In general.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
It's really weird.
It's going to get me fired from my job.
If you're lucky.
I mean,
yeah. If you do it right.
If you're funny, pretty much. So pretty much if you make a good podcast, you'll probably lose your job. You know, because that's the thing. This isn't Christmas. Also, I want to say before we move on, our lovely producer Bryce and Kate.
Yeah, let's acknowledge.
That's a beauty in the fucking love your community. Help did the majority of the work of all putting this together. It's fucking awesome. This was great. So if you guys aren't listening to, if you guys are listening to this, this is one to watch.
Mm-hmm. Come click on the YouTube link. Just take a look.
Just for a sec, just look.
We have a whole setup. It looks great.
Subscribe.
Subscribe while you're at it. That would really help us. We would, if you're listening to this, give us a follow, give us a sub if you like what we're doing. It really helps.
And purchase from our sponsors at the link. Our sponsors are New Amsterdam, Svedka, and Supper Club Beer.
Supper Club Beer, yes. First
Ply your family with liquor this season.
Dude, not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Fuck, I wanted to talk about... Oh, dude. Someone who should be dead.
Sure.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh, what happened now? Because I know what he's been doing for a little bit.
He went to a school with the fucking like gay conversion electroshock box. He's gay.
I know.
He's married to a black man.
No, he's been converted.
Is he? Did they get
apparently?
I mean, it's all a grift.
Yeah.
But he's dude. He's
right. Yeah.
He's a white supremacist who's married to a black man. I feel like pointing out his race is rather important.
I can't tell which one's confused, him or his husband. Like, which one's more confused?
Dude, his husband must like low-key, like the conversation behind the camera. Like Milo's like, it wasn't supposed to go down like this, and his husband's like, I get it. He's like, I can't work a regular job. I have to keep this going. Mm-hmm. Like, it's definitely that. Some people are like, are you saying he's really not a white? Yes, I think he's probably, like, even Tim Dillon said it very well. He just wanted to be famous. He chose politics, was like, people like when I'm mean. And then he got banned from Twitter, and he's like, well, the next step is just to keep going. But he got married to you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to get married to a black man and then meet like his side of the family and be like sitting down with like his parents and be like, you guys have a great thing going here, but I really do think the Aryan race is just a little better. Like that conversation. First of all, I just fucked myself because that's getting clipped
in 10 minutes.
Out of context.
We'll clip it ourselves. We'll put that as
really though. Yeah, that's what like people don't think about like that conversation outside.
How would that even go? Like, would they have to look at him as like? Do they have to actually know him, or do they only know him because he's so famous as like, at least in his own sphere, so famous as this thing that he might not actually be? I mean, he's a charlatan. Like, he's truly like an actor.
He's an actor.
You know what I mean? Like, he's a grifter. He's an actor. I don't know who pays him, but it's probably some form of some media company that pays him.
It was like some like donor, like
yes, for a long
donor,
time.
and then like he died. It was like a billionaire.
That donor probably is actually racist. Well, Milo Yiannopoulos is definitely a front.
Yeah.
Like, if you really like dig into it,
he's a hired gun. He's a hired speaker or a hired prophet. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's just the face of a thing, but like that doesn't excuse. You know what I mean?
Weird.
Obviously doesn't. I don't know if people here know who Milo Yiannopoulos is who are listening, but
doesn't
look into him.
Doesn't excuse anything.
That's what I'm
saying. The things you say, whether you're grifting or not, doesn't take away from the damage that you actually do to society, which he did clearly. Yeah. That he's 100% guilty for.
Continues to do.
Yes, that we're more talking about whether he actually means like him personally.
If he believes this, if that's his. What? No, we're saying if those are actually his words,
right?
If that is, if he's represented by that, if he came up with those ideologies, which I don't know, that would be really tough to like split your personality like that. That would be really insane. He's probably a lunatic. He's probably like unhinged.
I mean, he's trying to make a gay conversion camp. Do
you think the sex is good with him? Like being that crazy? Like being that like self-destructive inside? Like, do you think he just...
Let's apply it to the real world, because we definitely know some people get a little freak in the bed, had some shit. I know on a personal level.
Yeah.
I like to throw down. Listen to me. I'll throw down. Have a good time. Like, someone comes up to you and they're like, I like to be fucked. I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You gotta listen. Then you have to then you have to scream.
Dude.
To throw.
Yeah.
To grab.
Yeah.
To hit. I mean, not hit.
Consensually.
Oh, no, that's,
100%.
Why would we be saying this if it wasn't?
That conversation happens.
Yeah.
That's what people don't get. That conversation happens. If you're going to throw down, it's like, give me a limit. They're like, I want you to fucking, ugh. And then it's like, all right. No, hey, we're talking about real life here.
Yeah.
This happens.
No.
And it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, nor should it be.
Imagine if everybody was fucking like that. Imagine everybody was just spitting and hitting. You know what I mean?
Spitting, hitting. No, there's a damn good possibility. You don't know.
Slapping and clapping.
You don't know what your parents do.
I don't think.
You don't need to think about it, but you can at least understand. No, you ever wonder, dude? Because
I have wondered.
Imagine doing missionary for your entire life. You get bored. You get a little bored. You're not gonna flip over at least once. You're not gonna maybe.
Yeah, what's the thing? You're gonna get like when people work a certain job and they get like strain over certain muscles because they do the same shit the whole time. It's like that. Also, you would stop having that sex after a while,
right?
Because you're like, I know how to make you come, and you know how to make me come. I want to learn. I want to do something where I don't know how to make you come yet. Dude, that's all spicing things up means.
No, that's true.
It's like, what's a way that I don't know how to make you come yet?
I don't know if you can look this up, but Billie Eilish actually is coming out, was talking about this, that she feels that porn has really ruined her brain and her view on like what sex should be. And she said that I've consented to guys doing things to me that I feel like I shouldn't have consented for because they're kind of wrong and degrading. And it's a really interesting thing. She's not like coming after them. She's just saying, she's like, I think my view on like what sex should really be has been ruined by pornography, which is an interesting statement. I think she's not wrong. I
agree, because she's not, and it's good that she doesn't sound. It's good that she doesn't sound like she's coming after those guys in the way that other than like saying it's a fucked up thing, because more than likely their brains have been fried by porn, because I don't know a single man in my life who's my age who didn't know or has viewed porn before the age of 11. Like everybody I know had watched porn since they were like middle school or younger.
The first time I jerked off, I scared myself.
You screamed?
I got scared. I didn't know what was happening.
You cried?
I didn't cry, but I got nervous. And I thought God was going to strike me down.
Damn.
I really did. I thought I committed a horrible sin.
You did.
Thank you. I remember the first time.
You gotta tell him, Bryce. You gotta know.
Everyone remembers their first time.
Yeah, shower. I was in the shower. I didn't know how to do it. That's why I didn't. And by the time I was really I knew how to really do it right for myself. I was already like a really I was really like a cringe. What?
It's just a fucking.
I was really a cringe atheist. I was like 14 before I figured out really how to like get me, how to like really do it, how to get the hand and stuff down. You know what I'm talking about? What?
What does being an atheist have to do with it?
No, I was just saying the time that I realized. Oh yeah, I was going somewhere with that. I'm a little fried right now. I was an atheist when I figured out how to really do it for myself. So I didn't feel any sort of like pressure from God because I didn't think that there was.
Fuck it.
Like more, I didn't believe in like the church and shit because I was really stubborn about that.
Did you?
But I had no fear.
I
was coming and going.
Literally.
Eyes closed. Drift away.
Dude, I remember like talking about speaking about things like you were open to way too young at an age, because I think the first time I jerked off was like 13 or 14, and I remember like my dad would take me to like movies that I really shouldn't have been seeing. I remember I was like 11 and I was in 5th grade, and we just saw a movie, and I went into class and I was like. His name is Mr. Mac. I think I was like, Mr. Mac, dude, because I would talk like a little kid. Have you seen The Hurt Locker? That movie was awesome. And he would just look at me like I was crazy. And he would go, you saw The Hurt Locker? I was like, yeah. Have you seen it? And he's like, yeah, I saw it. I was like, that movie was awesome. And he's like, who took you to see The Hurt Locker? I'm like, my dad. Dude, like when the kid has like the bomb and all that part's awesome. And they're like defusing bombs and stuff like that. Because I was just like the action part. No, I couldn't understand any comment on the Middle East or
you didn't know the political climate of any of that.
I'm like, dude, army guys.
Right.
They're so cool.
They're like your little army guys. Like they're just that, but come to life. Your little army toy things, the little plastic things. I know you had a billion of those. So did I.
Dude, my first, like today I was talking about superheroes with coworkers, and one was like, my first superhero was Spider-Man. He's like, I would wet my hands and pretend I could climb on walls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, my first superhero was Batman. Because again, when I was 11, my dad saw me to take The Dark Knight in theaters. And dude, like that scene where the pencil trick, he's like, I can make this pencil disappear. Boom. And he just hits him.
Yeah.
I remember that scene like just stone cold, like staring at the screen. I was like, that was violent. Why did Joker do that? And like, I remember I went home because my parents were divorced by the time, and I went home to my mom. I was like, Mom, you gotta see Batman The Dark Knight. It's so good. And she's like, who took you to see The Dark Knight? I was like, my dad. She's like, you weren't supposed to see that. I saw Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the movie in theaters.
Oh my fucking God. That's good. No, that's good.
Dude, people are like, why are you the way you are? I'm like, well, I have stories. I have so many stories. And it actually adds up.
And there's plenty of people who are exactly like you in that way, because we're exposed. Like, this is the thing about what Billie Eilish said, is that this, more than just porn, we're exposed to things at young ages more and more with the rise of media and entertainment that just like change it informs your brain as a child, like the scene in The Dark Knight,
right?
Or when you when you flip to like Adult Swim at a certain hour, or you watch like some weird show that's on like MTV that you're not supposed to watch at a certain hour, when you turn on like Blue Mountain State or some shit when you're like 11,
dude.
But we pretend like we know the way we talk about it, that we're like, you shouldn't have seen that, and your parents knew it at the time. But the people who run the internet and these sites, they don't give a fuck.
Right.
They're like, yes, it's good that 13-year-old boys are addicted to the images that we have on this website.
Right. Do you want to hear like the first time, I remember the first time in like third grade, the first time that my teacher was like, okay, everyone get under the desks. She shut the light off, shut the door, and like the intercom was like, we're going into a lockdown right now. We have an unidentified person in the building. Mm-hmm. And that when you're a little kid, you're like, I don't know what that means. And so I'm like underneath the desk, because we're like, you're little kids and everyone's underneath the desk when you should be like at the desk.
You should be in the desk. And all your friends over there across the room.
Everyone's like, eee! I'm like, isn't this fun? We're all under the desk and the lights are turned to woo. And my teacher's like, shh, shh, shh. Be quiet, because she's like fearing for her life. She's thinking about her kids. She's like, shh, you need to be quiet now. And I'm like,
now, were these drills, or were these like
no, it was a real situation. It was a real, someone was in the building and they didn't know who it was. And it was an elementary. And I'm just under my desk. I'm like, this is so much fun.
That's the most fucked up part about shit like Sandy Hook, and like, because those are kids who were probably doing the same shit when that fucker was in the building.
Right.
They were probably in class fucking like just like stabbing holes in erasers. Suddenly they're under the desk and the lights are off, and people are like pretending that people are going like across the room, and you're like,
really?
Oh my God, David, what the fuck? David Parker.
And then the guy comes in and like, no, really.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
like,
that's the real
I'm
thing.
laughing because it's so heinous in my mind.
It's fucked.
That's what happens.
No, and I remember going through that experience.
Of man.
It's weird, because now when I think about that, that's some like real shit.
Yeah.
Like that teacher was probably like about like fearing for her life, and I'm there unconscious, just like wee. And dude, I got in trouble because I got in trouble every day in elementary. I got my card flipped. They're like, you're gonna have to change to yellow if you don't calm down. And I'd be like, okay. And I just sit there and I just start like going back and forth. And I'd be like,
unmedicated, just sitting on the chair.
I just like slam the desk. And they'd be like, Kate, move your card to red. You keep talking. I'm like, and I start crying because I knew my mom would get mad at me. I'm like, okay, I'll move it to red. Dude, they would put us down to nap. I never fell asleep at nap time.
Yeah, me rarely ever.
I would just sit there. There was this kid who always fell asleep, and he would sleep right next to me. And I would always put my mat right next to him, and he would be asleep. And I'd be like, hey, what you thinking about? And he'd be like, little kids, he's like, because he's like actually asleep. And I like take my hand, I like poke his nose. Hey, what are you doing? And my teacher would be like, Cade! Shh! I'd be like, okay. And I just like go back and I'd be like, wee! I just like make noises. That was like my entire elementary experience, was just making weird noises and getting in trouble for it. I would just like scoop my chair across everywhere. And they'd be like,
you still do that now, the noise thing? Like, you just still blurt out things.
Wee! Baba booey.
Baba booey. You'll go like, all the time. Look at this lovely fire.
Isn't it warm?
Yeah.
Oh my God, can we play the Alexa clip?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw this.
Yeah.
Jarod showed me
this on Instagram, and I put it on our story, and I put, the end already came and went, and we are in hell. Oh. And it's a kid asking Alexa a question. I was prefacing it. Fucking bitch.
It's 30 seconds long.
Can the reindeers fly?
No, caribou cannot fly.
Santa Claus is not real?
For one, Alexa doesn't know what she's talking about.
Fucking whore, Alexa.
Santa is real.
She didn't go to college.
How? Reindeers makes the sleigh fly. And the
Dude, he's having a mental
fly,
breakdown.
But reindeers can't fly.
Alright, well, Alexa's an idiot.
Dude, so the kid asks, Alexa, can reindeer fly? And Alexa goes, no, caribou cannot fly. And so he goes, Santa Claus is not real.
He made that connection really fast.
And that dad is like, looks like he's about to have a panic attack. See, now what would have been good? What would have been good if the kid went, Alexa, can reindeer fly? And Alexa goes, no, caribou cannot fly. And he goes, Santa Claus is not real. And the dad should like fit a rage and be like, Santa Claus is real. That dumb bitch Alexa doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. It's like your whore mom. Just like
makes it really bad.
Alexa's another reason why you have to go to her house every weekend and hang out with Danny. She's the same reason why we can't have Christmas together anymore.
He just goes all the problems that are stacked up in his life just on the kid. The kid knows everything now. If he knows Santa's not real, he's got to hear the real dirt.
Yeah.
He's got to hear really why mom and dad aren't together.
This is why Santa has to come to both houses.
No, you just got to give the kid, just give him the iPad, show him the new Five Nights at Freddy thing, just give him the new That was our little. Sorry, that was our worker elf. He makes the toys for us.
Just like, could you imagine? He's like really like into it. He's like, Danny's a liar. I don't care what he says about Daddy's drinking. I'm fine.
The kid asks some more questions like the usual ones. How are babies made and shit like that? And he's like, I fucked your mom. Danny doesn't fuck your mom. They don't have sex.
Danny doesn't
he's
do
impotent.
it as good as I do.
Danny sits all day. He's impotent.
And he's like, Dad, what does fuck mean? And he's like, son, I'm about to put you on the naughty list. Santa's about to not come to our house. No.
You want to know what fuck means? I'll show you what fuck means. And he just starts fucking Alexa. He gets like a blow up. He gets his pocket pussy. Oh, you got me all sex in the head now. Those questions earlier.
You're okay.
Sorry, guys.
No, but I really...
Horny on the podcast.
We never talk about sex on the podcast.
No, yeah, we don't get into it much.
No. I really wonder, in the spirit of Christmas, we should make a rule. This is coming out on Christmas Eve. Oh, I know. We should have a drinking game for Christmas. Everyone's Christmases.
Oh, yeah.
We should have a drinking game. Every time someone mentions the C word, i.e., something that may be something that is related to a virus.
Can't say that one either.
You have to take a shot every time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, let's do that and tally them up.
I'll do that.
Let's see who wins.
So we have a group chat. We'll text in the group chat how it's going at Christmases. But like, do you do Christmas on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day?
Depends.
Depends.
Kind of both.
Okay. Same.
You have to do it twice.
Yeah. Oh shit! I gotta do it twice as well.
It's way more low key when it's just me and my family though. Like, it's just like the close.
So whichever
you're just getting blasted there.
Yeah, that's the fun one.
So whichever one, whoever, dude, because my favorite at work, it's so funny because people like try to bring stuff like that up, and it's immediately like depending on what side you are on what that's. If dude, that conversation gets so violent so quickly.
Yeah.
Dude, people are so ready to just like go nuts. I just you know what I want? I just sometimes like, this is where I wish my dad was still at Christmas, so he'd go, we're not fucking talking about it right now.
You know what I think, and you don't want it. You don't like it. I don't like what you. Those conversations at work should be 30 seconds. Somebody says one thing, another person says one thing, and then they all go, shit is bad.
No, how it should go is the moment someone brings it up, that coworker has full authority to send them home. Just turns out like, hey, what do you think about the so-and-so? It's the so-and-so variant. And they should go, hey, I know today's a good day, but you need to go. And they're like, what? And like, listen, you know the rules. No, but like, that's the thing. I really wonder with, as things progress, I think this is going to be probably the last Christmas where people have to worry about that.
Better, yeah.
Let's be hopeful in this part of the podcast, but I really do think that probably by next year, this will be, really out of people's mouths. I mean, we're pretty to the
Hopefully.
point. We're pretty to the point where people are going to be like, remember when that thing happened? And people are going to be like, yeah, that was great. Dude, the South Park, post-COVID special was great. Where they literally, like the series at the end, they're like, it's this whole thing. You got to watch. It's 2 hours. It's in 2 parts. It's really good. But the way that they end COVID to change the future is they like give everyone this weed that makes people like more forgiving. And so they're like, everyone's going to their husband or their wife. They're like, hey, babe, I just want to say, this pandemic's been really stressful. You did a great job. I just want to say sorry for acting like an asshole at times. And they're like, what? And then the next second, they're both high. And they're like, you were right. Everyone's just trying to get out here. And then there's one point where like they're like 2 guys are talking to each other. They're like, hey, I just want to say, they're all baked. Like their eyes are really red. They're like, hey, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have gotten on you about the whole mask thing. I was really thinking I was greater than everybody. And the other guy goes, I'm sorry. I really should have wore the mask from time to time. I really was being a dick. It was so smart.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It covers the whole board, Because that's what South Park does really well. They cover the whole thing.
The whole point was just like, the way to end this is just cut people some slack.
Yeah.
Dude,
on everybody.
On every level. Because it's just like, man, go see a show. Yeah. Go to a bar. Like, you should give yourself a break. Listen, now, obviously, maybe people in Europe don't like that because Europe is actually having, like, insane cases right now. But you know what? We already made a point on this, on why. And it doesn't really matter. But
we're scientists.
America was built on the idea of lying, stealing, and not giving a fuck. And truly, some people need to give more of a fuck, and some people need to get less.
That's what slack is.
There's a medium here. And this country needs to find the medium of where we all cut each other some slack, because otherwise, things are going to get a little silly.
Otherwise, this Christmas will be literally like just the culmination of all of the tension that everybody's bringing to it from this last year. Like I'm annoyed because on my dad's side of the family, I'm going and my older sisters are going as well. And nobody at that family thing is going to be wearing a mask. It's just not really what they're going to do. But my sisters have made it a point to be like, we're wearing a mask the whole time.
That's cool. They should just not go.
Because they're egging on. Not that it's not their right to do that, but it's also you're making a statement to your family, and that they don't realize that they're deliberately misinterpreting the attitude of the family they're going to go see.
Also, statement, you're not brave.
No,
for doing that.
You're not.
You're not virtuous.
You're petty.
It's petty.
It's petty. It's dumb.
It's not going to matter either.
It's not going to matter. It's a mask. You're going to be eating at some point. You're going to be taking sips of drinks. You're going to be hugging people. Are we dumb?
Yes.
And I mean, it's silly because, and I love my sisters, and like I don't criticize them much unless I really feel like mean it. But you're both engaged adults with full jobs that you went to college for, and you're playing games with your family because you're holding some. That's the thing. It's like that's the real shit. People just hold shit in until they're that old. Late 20s, and then it just,
One thing you just did is that you just set up a criteria for reasons they should be acting a certain way, and I disagree with all of them.
Yeah.
Engaged, full-time jobs, and going to college have proven time and time again to not be any real measurement of intelligence.
That's the true irony of this whole thing. No, that's what I'm getting at, is because it proves to me that like, oh, that doesn't actually mean anything, and it's about like the actual duties in your life, or the actual real feelings you have, whether it's stemming from shit in your childhood that you can't let go of from your family, or whether it's about just general frustrations or a certain like protective righteousness over your own like independence as an adult.
Do you know what your family should do when they get there? So
at my dad's thing?
At your dad's house.
Yeah.
Before they get there. And you should be there.
I'll be there.
Before they get there.
I'll be there, no mask. Wait, should I preface something to the family before?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no mask. Raw dog Christmas. Hey, you'll be fine. Get your shots, but you'll be fine.
Or yeah, you should do it. Maybe you don't have to. But
Raw Dog Christmas would be a good title.
Raw Dog Christmas. Like this is before they get there. Like I don't know if there's a coat rack or like a key rack right next to the door. Mm-hmm. Before they get there,
there is a big coat rack. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's good. You're probably gonna have to buy them, but you're gonna have to go to Petco, and you're gonna have to buy 2 leashes. And when they get there, you're gonna have to your dad. You're like, hey, I'm really glad you guys came. I respect the mask thing, but this is a rule in this household today. You need to wear this. and it should have like a little bell. And he should like jingle it like right in front of them. And he goes, if you take off the mask, we'll know whether you need this or not. But at the moment if you're making a statement, we're making a statement. And the statement, and he should point to a sign and say, no dogs without a leash. And just because you know what they'll do, but then they'll leave.
Yeah.
Because then you'll set up, first of all, also maybe ruin any chance of your father having a real having a recovered relationship. However, that would be brave. That is real patriotism.
Would it be braver if they put on the leashes? Would they really be like sticking to their principles in that situation?
Dude,
I'd respect them if they put the leash on.
If they put the leash on, and it has nothing to do with them being women. It has because if people like think
it's a little bit about that, but
no, it's
like that's
nothing to do with them being women. Just people in this circumstance, human beings in this circumstance, going to a gathering of human beings in a different circumstance, and if they go. They look at it and they look back at your dad and they go, fine. And they like literally do the thing where they have to clip the little he's like, I got to hear it click. And it's like, click.
Now give us a jingle.
And you're like, great.
And then I just carry him around the whole time, no mask. Just like, I brought them. They didn't want to come, but I dragged them out anyway. They thought it was too cold out. They didn't have their winter coats on yet.
People in the other
Animals.
part, your other part of the family, are like, I hate when people bring some people have to bring their dogs everywhere. This is ridiculous. Can you keep them home? Like, get a kennel for Christ's sake. Like, they don't, like,
and
it's completely
they're just muzzled with the mask
it's
on.
completely like disillusioned. Like, until they take off the mask, they're like, oh my God, thank you for coming. Like, they don't actually see a human being.
I feel like that's
dog.
what's going to happen. I guarantee that's what's going to happen is like nobody's going to want to talk to them because they feel like they don't have a mouth, that they don't have a voice.
Dude, we're making this really,
you know what I mean?
We're making this weird joke, but it has turned into this weird nuanced borderline political cartoonish event.
Yeah. Which I half agree with.
It's really weird. This is it. Like, now when I'm thinking about this, because you're like, in reality, they probably will look at them as animals. Like, they both look at each other like animals.
They're looking at They're looking at themselves like civilized, responsible people, and they're looking at these family members, it seems,
like animals.
as barnyard animals with just wild feral beasts with no master.
Dude, to be fair,
but they will not be slaughtered. The ones with the civilized animal gets. That's the thing. The nice cow, the cute cow, still gets the nail in the head.
The little fucking No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, the fucking
right in the fucking skull. The I was watching the other day, because we were having this conversation about Nikki Glaser and Whitney Cummings. I don't really like them as comedians that much, but also I don't think they're for me.
I like them, but I don't love their comedy, but I like them.
But somebody them asked, were like, well, who do you think's a good woman in comedy? I was like, fucking Roseanne Barr. Holy shit. Now sometimes like her comedy on late night shows would be really clean, and she would do like very like gender jokes, like I'm a wife type of jokes. Well, like, it's so good. And she back in the day, like, she was really pretty, like she had like a perfect smile, like she just had like such a likable personality. And then like it made sense that she was Roseanne on Roseanne, like that she played like this Midwestern mom, because that show is like, when I think about like Christmas time, I think about Roseanne. I think about that show because that's what my family would put on at Christmas time. We would watch reruns of Roseanne, and that show really is the greatest family comedy show ever made. Like, it literally goes that, and then like King of the Hill. But like, if we're talking about like real people, like Roseanne like beats everybody, because like it is so real. It's real problems, and it's like about a family that doesn't have money. Like, they're constantly having financial issues. Like, they're constantly having problems with the car. They're constantly having problems, like the kids sneaking out or something. And like, there's like this thing, like, John Goodman's like the dumb dad, but like, he's not dumb. Like, it's really like they're both actually intelligent, Roseanne and John Goodman. And I think he's Bob in the show. But it's so like, that is like the good version of like the Midwest, like really this family that's like, we just want to have something for ourselves. Like, she's a waitress at times, he like is a factory worker, I mean, like it's so like so Midwest, just like lower, like upper lower class, lower middle class lifestyle. And I love that, because it was just like, when I watched it, I was like, this is my family. Even though I didn't have a big family, I was a single kid, but even when my sister was born, I was like, this is us. This television series is really like this family. And it was like, when I think of Christmas, I think about the Roseanne show. And that's like one, I'm like, I'm so glad. Like, sometimes you think about like media, you're like, I'm so glad that show was made. You're like, that's weird. But like, that show, I'm genuinely grateful that it exists, because it's amazing.
Well,
it's
the right kind of show. The right kind of show to say that about is the show that when you watch it, you can project your reality onto it rather than projecting some like a stereotype onto it.
Right.
Because there's a way to look at that show and project like a kind of classist stereotype onto it in a way, or just a sort, because like you. Depending on your upbringing, you could look at that and be like, these people are like are like circus acts. Like these people are like lesser than me. Their problems are funny. And they might even think their own problems are funny, personifying them a little bit. But at the same time, like, that's the whole thing about sitcoms. When they're done right, it's making everything kind of funny. Kind of everything's kind of weirdly funny in a way. Even when shit goes wrong, you kind of have to look at it and be like, I can't believe this is my life. This is kind of funny at the same time.
Right.
Well,
one thing, like, and the reason why it's so good is because Roseanne grew up like that.
Yeah.
And so when she's like barely acting. She's not really acting. She's just being Roseanne. And that's why it's so good, because it's just like, it's just this, like, it's real.
Yeah.
It feels real, and it's cool. And it's like, I don't know.
That's why I like Sunny, because I know you probably cringe at Sunny a little bit, but at the same time, what I know about the history of that show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, is that the writers actually kind of came from, they spent a lot of their developing years and then their adult years living in like New York or Philadelphia. And they, even though that show isn't grounded in reality as much as probably Roseanne is a different kind of sitcom, but they do ground it in a sense of respect for the reality of different classes and cultures and shit like that. And especially the culture of like poor or mid or like lower middle class, like, Irish Catholic or just like non-suburban whites that they know, that they grew up with, which is just their family. That's the only way to put it, really. And I always think of that show around Christmas, because that show was, I grew up kind of in middle school on that show, and the way that they kind of made me laugh at the world and the problems that come up in family. Because the show is about dysfunctional degenerates, yet you love them. You really like care about their dysfunction, and you like to see it come out. You kind of appreciate, like, oh my God, he's such a piece of shit. But like, he really, like, that speaks to you, because you're like, I'm kind of a dysfunctional piece of shit in this context or in this scenario. And when I was in middle school, and I would spend a lot of time at my friend Brandon's house with his family, it was a totally different family dynamic. It was kind of messier, but there was a more wholesome feeling in there, amongst that mess. And we would watch that show all the time. And it just, I without even knowing it at the time, I could look around and feel comfortable with messy, sometimes, financially struggling situations. I don't even know if these writers for these shows understand that's what they're doing on paper, but that is what they do in in those great shows. That is what they do. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. I really think hopefully people have that too. Maybe it's like a Christmas movie that people have that with or something around this time. But I think we got to stop they're making a new Home Alone. Can we knock it off? Like, can you kill yourself actually? Because like, genuinely, that's like, it's not going to be better, because that first Home Alone was made for the time. It was made for the time when like parenting was changing, and it was kind of a scary thing for a kid to be left home alone. On top of that it was a holiday. On top of that like, all the, the crime and shit. It was really a piece of the time for that. But we need to make stories now that do maybe what Roseanne did, or, for, if it's for a holiday, or if it's for like a social issue that actually speaks in a modern way about it, but still cuts through in like a way that has always been the way people felt about things. Right. That keeps tradition and modernity kind of balanced. We don't have that at all. Right now we're resting in this nostalgic area. Even the Roseanne reboot thing that they tried to do, it was weird.
Was hilarious. It was actually one of the most viewed shows in history.
Really?
The first season.
Wow.
And then she said someone looked like a monkey.
She did say that.
She did. And I understand where maybe people get a little upset.
Yeah.
But what did we lose? All right.
Tradition and modernity. What are we balancing here? Yeah. What are we at?
We have to wrap up.
All right.
It's
the hour.
Well, Thank you everyone for watching, Merry Christmas. Truly, we say some crazy shit on here, but we do wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We hope that your Christmas is very good, and we hope that in the true spirit of Christmas, that it is a moment to cut everybody some slack.
Should we give out our address so people can send us presents?
No. Okay. And actually,
in the comments,
share some love, because it's an expensive Christmas this year. And everyone's kind of feeling that. I know that. But, I think this year more than anything, it's really the thought that counts.
Yeah.
And I think people should keep that in mind. And, just remember, there's only so many Christmases. You're only going to have so many. It could be your last. So maybe take the time to be present while you get your presents. Because it is a gift, after all. All right, check us out. Check us out at all the things. Shout out to www.iCanosha. Awesome number letting you set. Check out That's a Beauty. Again, Bryce and Cade are awesome for helping us set up the set today.
Follow our shit. Yeah. Follow our TikTok. No one follows our TikTok.
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all the things. Subscribe and like the videos on YouTube. At the end, Merry Christmas from us.
You guys should sing like a Christmas carol to go out or something.
Santa's coming tonight.
Santa's coming tonight. All right. Bye.
Good night.